it definitely is an honor to be here with you, and I'm so super excited to be able to engage in this level of conversation, dialogue, and then also hopefully encourage you to really dig into it, because sometimes you can overlook the fact that it's about data, or you can have let me say it this way. I had preconceived notions about what I felt about data and the perception of it, but reading this book has really changed my perspective and has really encouraged me to do more with data that's available to me. So I'm excited that you're excited about reading this book. So for some of you, hello. So some of you, so like when you're in church and the pastor is preaching and teaching and they write the script, they tell you the scriptures, you write them down to take notes. So I went ahead and I gave you page numbers. So if you want to get your pens out so that you can take notes, so that therefore when you hear something exciting that is said today, you can say, oh, on this page, this happened on the book launch, okay? So go ahead and get your pens, get your books ready, and make some notes in the margin. That's okay for them to write in your book, right?
It's theirs now.
Yeah, exactly. It's theirs. Let's own it.
Yes.
So you have 2 case studies in the book. One is from top 4 human service sectors, and another one is regarding organizational readiness with the Maryland Department of Human Services. On a high level, can you, high level, I'm being very strategic with that word, right? Give an overview of these studies, and why do you think it was important to kind of include this in the book?
So data also, you can use that for strategic foresight. I talk about data a lot, but the whole idea is strategy, being able to be specific, to get specific goals. So for the top 5 human service sector trends, I did a study, and this study was done actually this is 2022, so 2020. So it was 90 days. It was a 90-day, last 90 day from the time I did it. And we were looking at what I did was a study on Google, actually, but kind of fleshed it out. So we found out that there were 5 human service sector trends. One was remote working, artificial intelligence, human resources. There was a focus on employee wellness and unemployment. So those were 5 sectors. And when you read the book, you find out that we now fleshed it out. For the remote working, we now looked at the technical skills and the security, how that impacts us. And, then we looked at, another thing we looked at, that is unemployment, reskilling and available jobs. So being able to look at trends and then flesh it out one step after the other to see. I'll give you something which was interesting. These are things that we were able to foresight from that information, is that with remote working being the new normal, I know everybody loves to work remotely, workforce adaptability, investment in technology, increased data security, and managing personal identifiable information, and also being able to create virtual work groups and teams. So these are the things we are forecasting will become a norm based on the things we're spotting in, the need for people to work remotely once COVID hit. And then the other case study, the other case study, the ask was for one to, the Department of Human Services where we work, they just launched a system called, one of our agencies launched a system called the Eligibility and Enrollment System. It was going to replace our legacy system, which I'd used for years. And my assignment in my position as a director was to visit every county, about 50 offices that we have, and be able to do some what we call readiness assessment, right? By observing their workflow and see if there are any mitigating factors that will impact their ability to transition to the new system. And so what I did, that was 2 sentences. That's what they gave me. So what I did was, because I work with the local departments very closely, and when you ask them, and this could happen in any job, when you ask them for a standard operating procedure on anything, they will give you what they believe you want. It's perfect. That's what you wrote 10 years ago. And this is what you want, you take it. And so I said, no, this is not going to work if I'm actually going to find things that will help. So what we did was I designed with my team, we designed a 54-question survey in 4 parts. One had to do with customer experience, another thing had to do with office culture, another thing had to do with the current process of doing things, and the 4th one was the expectations for the future process. So that's 4 things, right? And everyone, it was anonymous, the results are anonymous. For each office got this survey just before we go, and they send us the results, we analyze it, produce a report. We take the report to the office, you observe the office, the business process, and we come and we share with them what the results of their survey tells us about their office. And each one of them agreed that is exactly what happened. So that facade that they were going to present to us about how things were was no longer necessary, because based on the intelligence we got, we're able to see through and say, this is where things are right now. So based on this, let's do a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? And then turn around and met with their upper leadership to say, this is the way forward if you're going to be prepared for what's coming. And I need somebody to get me. There's something right there. It's wrapped right there on the floor. It's a white. You're looking at it, it's white, it's wrapped. No? Thank you. It's not going to mean anything to you, but I want you to see, this is the kind of thing I do with data. After all is said and done, okay, this is what we came up with.
Some good rapping. The first time I saw this, I was like, what in the world?
So this here, on that side, you have the 4 categories I talked about and all their questions and how they panned out, and we color-coded it. So across right here represents every of those 50 offices. But what this does, and it was interesting because one of my colleagues that went with me on the journey, when she looked at it, she said, wait a minute. When you look very closely, you quickly see the offices that have similar processes. We're all supposed to be doing one thing, but all of them are doing different things. But then you now see the offices that have similar processes. So those are the kind of details we can go into as far as analysis. And this really spoke to a lot about the organizational culture in the department. And so we're able to, talking about not doing things to people, but doing with them, engage them to move forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I know I was a part of that transition, that change, and her analytics has really moved us along and allowed us to be very well informed. So thank you. Awesome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Ify Nathan, and I'm here excited to introduce my book. The name of the book is Data Speaks: Business Analytics for the creative leader. I found myself completing a doctoral program in strategic leadership out in Regent University in Virginia Beach. And I was very drawn to the data analytics part of the training. And I realized that I had a very keen interest in not only analyzing data, but being able to communicate data in a manner that appealed to different types of audiences. And I realized that why a lot of people shy away from data is because either it seems to be over their head or it's not communicated in a way that is meaningful for them. To be able to obtain a copy of my book, whether you want to get the hardcover or the paperback, you can visit drifinathan.com. If you want additional formats, you can visit Amazon and Barnes & Nobles.